play Game 2 of this 3-game set. We say welcome inside. Joe Davis, Eric Karros. You know, Eric, the popular thing to talk about in the Central coming into the season was, oh man, the Indians have loaded up. The White Sox have made all these moves. And it's almost like everybody forgot that the Tigers had won 4 division titles in a row. The Royals had gone to the World Series, but here we are a month into the season. These two teams continuing to develop a pretty good rivalry.
Well, it's really become a good rivalry. They've played 5 games this year. Kansas City took the first 2, then Detroit took 2. Last night, Detroit out to the early lead. Kansas City comes back, and then the knockout blow, a bunt by Detroit. Yeah. They win the ball game.
Yeah, 6-5 to take that series opener. They've won 3 of 5 now. Anibal Sanchez will get the ball for the Tigers today. Numbers so-so this year, but he's been really good against the Royals in his career.
Yeah, he's been great against Kansas City. You see the 6-2 record. In his starts here in Detroit, he has won all 3, has a 7.77 ERA against the Royals. It's going to be tough for that Kansas City offense.
And that Kansas City offense last year was the one piece that wasn't stellar all year. It was the bullpen and the defense. The offense is now one of the best in baseball.
It really is, and they can beat you in so many ways. You look at the batting average, they're first in all of Major League Baseball. Runners in scoring position, they've been great as well. You look at the slugging percentage, that's not something you think about with Kansas City. They're 5th. But what strikes me, the most important thing, they don't strike out, the fewest in all of baseball.
And so Anibal Sanchez, 31 years old, out of Venezuela, ready to make his 7th start. He was perfect through 5 against Kansas City on Sunday, wound up allowing 3 runs over 7 1/3 and got his first win since his first start of the season. Here's the Royals starting lineup. Escobar returned off of the disabled list yesterday, had a couple of hits. Kane and Hosmer and Morales all move up with Mike Moustakas on the bereavement list this weekend. Gordon out of the 5 spot. Then Infante, Colon, Dyson, and Drew Butera making his first appearance in a Royals uniform. 3 solid starts in a row for Anibal Sanchez after he allowed 5 home runs in a 2-start stretch in mid-April. You work with pitching coach Jeff Jones. He said on loosening things up, delivery had become too stiff, but he's looked really good since smoothing that out.
Yeah, he really has. And in his last start, which ironically was against his Kansas City ball club, he went 7 1/3, threw well, only gave up 3 earned runs. He's got that great changeup.
He's got an improved defense around him. Left to right in the outfield today, Cespedes, Gosen, Martinez, Castellanos with a start at 3rd. Andrew Omine, another start at short with Jose Iglesias still battling through that groin injury. Kinsler's at 2nd, Cabrera's at 1st, and McCann does the catching today with Alex Avila going on the disabled list with a knee injury today. 6th time these teams have met up over the last 10 days, and Escobar attacking the first pitch, drilling it deep to left, and gone. Alcides Escobar homers to left on the first pitch of the ball game, and how about that start for Kansas City?
Shoot, I was worried you weren't going to get through the defense, man. That is crazy. But you know, Escobar, that's the type of guy he is. He's going to go up there swinging, not your prototypical leadoff hitter. Look where that pitch is, up in the zone. Now, when it's up like that, unless it's 96, 97, big league hitters can get to that. Escobar does.
So we just finished talking about how dominant Anibal Sanchez has been against the Royals in his career, and he gives up a home run on the first pitch that he throws. First home run he's allowed to the Royals in more than 57 innings in his career. Lorenzo Cain takes strike 1.
Well, and that's the thing. As a pitcher, typically the leadoff hitter is going to see some pitches, take the first pitch, and Escobar just jumped on it.
0-1 to Cain. He slaps at it foul. Strike 2. This Royals offense, more than 5 runs per game. That's 2nd in the majors behind just the Blue Jays. They attacked David Price last night. 13 hits against him. It was the most he'd ever allowed. Sanchez to Cain with an 0-2.
Well, we said it in the opening that you can talk about the batting average, the slugging percentage is up. The one thing this Kansas City ball club does better than anybody, they make contact. They make contact. They're athletic. They can run. Presents a lot of problems for the defensive ball club.
0-2 on Cain, who takes one low. There's ball 1. Escobar, who returned last night from the concussion disabled list, had a couple of hits in his first game back. And homers on the first pitch from Sanchez today, who deals 1-2. And Kane grounds one to short for Romine. Not in time at first, and Kane beats it out for an infield single.
You see that long stride easily beats the throw, and we just talked about it. We talked about contact and athleticism. There's the contact, there's the athleticism, puts pressure on the defense.
Speed was one of the things this current roster was built around. Came with an infield single, bringing up Hosmer. The first two have reached for the Royals against Sanchez.
Well, something to watch for here, the stolen base. Sanchez does not do a good job of holding runners. And we've got a new catcher today as far as James McCann being behind the plate.
First time in his career he'll move into more of an everyday role, with Avila going down on the disabled list. Avila was a late scratch last night with a forearm contusion, and while he was out of the lineup, started discussing with trainers some discomfort he'd been having in his knee. MRI revealed some cartilage damage, and a trip to the DL for him.
And hopefully not an extended trip. And you see what Sanchez did right there. He came set and just went right home. I mean, it was borderline not stopping. But he's going to have to vary his cadence, his rhythm there. See, that's the off-speed, the changeup, what he's known for. But Sanchez, with runners on, is going to have to vary what he does going to the plate, vary his timing so the runners can't get anything.
Strike two on Hosmer. Hitting .319 at a base hit last night, and has a hit 5 straight now. Kendrys Morales due next. Escobar with a home run, Kane with an infield single, and now Hosmer shoots one in the air to center. Goes on the move, and he won't get there. That's into the gap. The speed of Kane has him hitting third and heading home. He'll score without a throw on a double from Hosmer, and it's 2-0 Royals before Sanchez records it out.
This is an 0-2 pitch right now, and they want to go up in the zone, and this pitch right down the middle. Now, a little surprised, especially with 2 strikes. You see, that's the four-seamer. Surprised that Detroit was playing a pull situation right there, especially with Hosmer with 2 strikes. And we see Hosmer, he's got the power. He will go the other way. Anthony goes shading more towards right center in that situation. No chance for that ball.
And now Morales takes ball 1. What a pickup he's been for the Royals. It's kind of an under-the-radar acquisition this offseason. They got him to replace Billy Butler in that designated hitter role 1 year after the worst numbers of his career. Split with the Twins and the Mariners. 1-0. Hit the short, backhand Romine, race to the bag, won by Hosmer. So the first out of the game is a line out to short.
You see, Romine makes a nice play, and he's trying to get to the bag there. You know, almost wonder if he wouldn't have been better suited to try and tag Hosmer, but it looked like from the angle the shorter route was going to the bag.
So Morales the first out. Up comes Alex Gordon. 3 hits last night against Price. He's been really good in this ballpark in his career, has Gordon. Only Michael Brantley of the Indians has more hits at Comerica since the 2011 season. And a double with an RBI last night. And now 44 hits in this park over the last several seasons. Quickly 2-0 as Sanchez struggles to settle in. You know, it's back-to-back starts he's making against the same lineup. We talked to him yesterday. He said he didn't think that necessarily gave the hitters an advantage, but I mean, he's thinking positively there, right?
Well, again, it just depends. I mean, Jeremy Guthrie pitched last week as well and got hit around, so we'll see what he comes out and does. And it's a cat and mouse type of game.
2-0. High strike, 2-1 on Gordon. Sanchez, one other time in his career, has faced the same team in back-to-back starts. It was back in 2011 when he was with the Marlins. And it went well. 7 shutout innings against the Nationals. Faced him again one start later. Took a no-hitter into the 7th. And wound up tossing 8 shutout innings in back-to-back wins. 2-1. 3 balls and a strike on Gordon.
Well, the bottom line is, at the big league level, you're constantly making adjustments, whether it's on the offensive side or out on the mound pitching-wise. If you don't, you're not going to find yourself around this game very long.
Hosmer at second after the RBI double. And now 3-1 to Gordon. Inside, ball 4. And 4 of the first 5 have reached for the Royals against Anibal Sanchez. As we look at our keys to the game, brought to you by Ford.
Well, the Tigers, ironically, they want to get to the Kansas City bullpen just because it's been worked a lot as of late. They've only had 10 innings total from their starters in the last 3 games. The Royals solved Sanchez. Now, early on right now, Escobar, the big hit. Hosmer, he drove the ball. It looked like they've got a game plan.
Omar Infante, former teammate of Anibal Sanchez here in Detroit. And prior to that, down in Miami. Stands in with 2 on and 1 out in this first inning. Swings at 1, bounces slowly to third. Castellanos to second for 1. The turn is late, and Infante aboard on a fielder's choice. Hosmer advances to third. Kansas City runners at the corners for Christian Colon.
Well, Sanchez can get out of this. He's got to feel pretty good. And really, essentially, the home run by Escobar, which was on the very first pitch, a fastball, the Hosmer ball was hit well, but he was 0-2 on Hosmer. Just made a mistake. The Kane single, infield single. The Morales, that was off the end of the bat.
Christian Colon bounces one to Romine. He'll go the short way to finish the inning, and like you said, EK, all things considered, Anibal Sanchez can't feel too bad about the 2 runs. They come to bat against Jeremy Guthrie on what has turned into a beautiful day in downtown Detroit. We were here 2 weeks ago, it was low 40s. Today, mid 70s, climbing up into the 80s. Anthony Ghost lays one down against Guthrie. That will bounce foul, strike one. Ghost, one of the heroes in last night's win. Doubled to start off the 9th inning. And scored on a throwing error after a bunt from Ian Kinsler. Part of this Tigers lineup, he and Kinsler at the top. Combined last night to go 7 for 8. And it's Miguel Cabrera who's leading the American League in on-base percentage. Middle part of the order, the part to watch for Brad Ausmus. Victor Martinez has not been himself this year. Cespedes and Martinez both struggling mightily. And then Castellanos, McCann, and Romine. Guthrie's 0-1. Over the inside edge, nothing in 2. So Jeremy Guthrie, EK, 36-year-old, who's given up 4 more runs in all but one of his starts, trying to settle in as he works into this season.
He's a guy that's going to give you innings. And he doesn't have overpowering stuff. Has to hit corners, keep guys off balance. That's what he's got to do today for this Royal Ball Club. He's got to give this staff innings.
Is 1-2 to Ghost. 2-2. Faced Detroit on Sunday. Gave up 6 runs on 11 hits, both of which are season highs. And his second loss. 2-2. Do it again. Overall for Guthrie this year, not pretty. The 36-year-old whose batting average against above 300 is 3rd worst in the American League. Another 2-2. And it's full on Ghosts.
Ghost not prone to many walks. Only 4 this year. Does strike out quite a bit.
Goes the other way, foul. We'll do the 3-2 again. Been a nice pickup for him. He's traded straight up for a guy that you've probably now heard of in Devin Travis, now in Toronto, making a case for American League Rookie of the Year, but he was blocked by Ian Kinsler at second. The Tigers wanted to upgrade that defense. They did with Ghosts, who grounds one sharply to second. Omar Infante, one away. Speaking of defense and speaking of really good defense, the Royals on a pace right now to be historically good defensively. Gordon, Kane, and Dyson. So much speed in that outfield. Colon making the start at third with Moustakas away from the team this weekend on the bereavement list. Escobar has returned from that concussion. Infante and Hosmer on the right side. And then it's Butera, who looked a lot like Perez on that shot, doing the catching in his first game as a Kansas City Royal. Ian Kinsler taking ball 1. 4 hits last night for Kinsler. His 14th multi-hit game, tied for the most in the bigs. Jose Altuve of Houston. David Price talking after the game last night to reporters, asked him about what Kinsler's done so far this year. And Price pointed to the patience that Kinsler's shown, despite the fact that he doesn't. He pulls one to short, and Escobar will pick it up. But despite the fact that obviously people don't want to face Cabrera with anybody on base, so what Kinsler's doing has been impressive.
Yeah, it really has, and he does a lot of different things. He does have power, although he hasn't hit a home run. He can bunt, he can handle the bat. But this is the guy everybody comes to see, and for very good reason.
2-time MVP right now, leading the American League with a .450 on base percentage. Strike one from Guthrie. Cabrera has homered against 4 times in his career. 0-1. Foul straight back, and Guthrie working ahead. Three hits against Guthrie last Sunday. That included one of his 4 home runs. It climbs the ladder for this one and skies it to center. 1, 2, 3 go the Tigers in the first inning as Cabrera flies out to Kane. And after one in Detroit, KC up 2-0. Rod Dyson swings at the first pitch from Anibal Sanchez and lashes a base hit into the gap. Ghost cuts it off, but the speed of Dyson has him at second. The same way the first inning began, the second begins with an extra base hit for the Royals. It was Alcides Escobar who had a solo shot in the first on the first pitch. Now it's a double from Dyson.
And just looking at this, the 8 hitters, 5 of them have put the ball in play on the first pitch. So there is a pattern.
So Drew Butera, in his first at bat in a Royals uniform, stands in against Sanchez. Lays down a bunt. Castellanos with a bare hand. Up to third goes Dyson. And a good way to endear yourself to your teammates if you're Butera with a successful bunt.
We saw a lot of the sacrifice bunting in the postseason last year by Kansas City manager Ned Yost. Not necessarily in this day and age something that is highly looked at, but very effective, at least in the use as Ned Yost has had it.
Offense clicking for him this year. Clicking for him today so far. Second trip through now. Here's Escobar with the infield in. Strike one. Solo shot his first time on the first pitch of the game. It's his first career leadoff home run. Strike one pitch from Sanchez. Cracked his bat, shallow left. Cespedes plays it on a bounce, and Escobar with an RBI single. 3-0 Royals.
Well, you see, this is off the inner part of the bat. Almost jammed him, but does enough to get it out there. Gets the RBI. Sure, Sanchez is frustrated right there because obviously he probably deserved better, but that's all made possible because Dyson hits the rocket to lead off the inning. That's where Sanchez got burned.
That's already 5 hits for the Royals as Lorenzo Cain comes up for the second time. And drills one towards right center. J.D. Martinez can't pull it in. First to third goes Escobar on another hit for Lorenzo Cain. And again, this is a guy in Anibal Sanchez whose numbers against the Royals coming in among pitchers with enough innings to qualify the best among active pitchers in baseball.
Yeah, but again, we talked about it. It's a game of adjustments. Martinez should have caught that ball. Would have been a nice catch, but it hit him right square in the glove.
And Jeff Jones making a trip to the mound after Sanchez was perfect through 5 on Sunday against the Royals. They got to him some over his last couple of innings, but still went 7 1/3 in that game, gave up only 3. And 3 runs on 5 hits so far. They've called that an error on J.D. Martinez. What do you think?
Well, he should have caught it. There's no question. If I'm the hitter right there, I'm going, man, I hit the heck out of that ball. I got to get something for that. But see, right now, what's happened, this has been a combination of some frustration because there have been some balls that have been put into play that weren't hit hard. They resulted in RBIs, base hit. But also, give credit to this Royals ball club because they are being aggressive. They're swinging at the first pitch. And they've made Sanchez pay for just trying to get ahead with that first pitch strike.
Eric Hosmer clubbed a double his first time. Sanchez trying to fight through these early struggles. The Royals scoring 3 times on 5 hits and a chance for more. Runners at the corners, still just 1 out in the second. Escobar's at third, Cain's at first. Sanchez deals as the runner takes off. McCann's throw is nowhere close to in time, but Cain comes off with a bag and Romine tags him out. 2 away.
Interesting about this is Cain just overslides the bag. He's not being helped at all by Romine. Sometimes guys like to put the tag and kind of push the guy off the base. That wasn't the case. That was just strictly momentum right there. That could be the break that the Tigers need. Well, they need it. Maybe the one that changes the momentum.
1-0 to Hosmer. Floats in there for a strike, 1-1. Boy, that sure does swing things, doesn't it? You go from runners at the corners and 1 out to a runner at third and 2 outs and a chance for Sanchez to have minimal damage.
Well, the thing is, it's a 3-0 ball game. You got Hosmer up, first and third, 1 out. Now you can get out of it, still 3-0. Or
Hosmer strokes one to center. His second hit of the game, drives in his second run. Escobar's in to score. 2 in the first, now 2 in the second. 4-0 Kansas City.
That's just got to be frustrating. Hosmer got him the first time on an 0-2 pitch, hit a double. This time a 1-1 pitch. Sanchez just doesn't have his control, doesn't have his location, leaving balls out over the plate. And again, Kansas City very aggressive.
Overshift on Kendrys Morales, who's late on a fastball, strike 1.
But what did he do? He offered at the first pitch. Again, that's the pattern we've seen.
And more often than not, that ball's been put in play for hits. First pitch of the game, a precursor for the first 2 innings of this game. Alcides Escobar launching a home run. First of 4 runs, first of 6 hits. Ball 1. The 1-1. Golfs it to center field. Anthony Gose is there, and that's the inning. A couple of more runs for the Royals. They've got a 4-0 lead. Middle 2. game. Royals have added 3 since, 4-0. As we go to the bottom of the second, Victor Martinez set to lead things off for the Tigers against Jeremy Guthrie. Worked the 1-2-3 first inning. Guthrie starts this second with ball 1. Martinez has continued to battle through that sore left knee. And 1 year after leading the American League in OPS, hitting only .233. Waits on this 1-0. Strike 1. Brad Ausmus continues to say that he feels like Martinez is headed in the right direction, sees progress with his health.
Well, you'll see the progress will be determined by the results on the field. And just looking at that right there, that's a 1-0 fastball that you're late on. And not to say that you shouldn't be late, but when you don't have your legs, the power, the bat speed, all that goes. And here, a lofted fly ball to left field. Again, I'm not so sure. I don't really care what everybody says. I know what I'm seeing with Victor Martinez. I know, having stood in that box and not having my legs, it's very difficult to drive the ball and very difficult to command any kind of bat speed.
Yeah, like you said, the numbers will show that. The numbers will show when he starts to bust out of it. But so far, only 3 extra base hits all season for Victor Martinez. Yoenis Cespedes, a bit of a slump of his own, 1 for his last 15. Guthrie's first one, in for a strike. Guthrie sharp so far, retiring the first 4. And bringing an 0-1 up and in, ball 1.
Well, and one of the things we talked about was Jeremy Guthrie, giving this Royals ball club some innings today just because the bullpen has been depleted. Well, it doesn't only rest on his shoulders, and he's not the only one that can impact that. It can also be impacted by the Royals scoring runs, and that's what they've done, because now he's got a cushion. Now he's got some room to play with. He's got that 4-run lead, and you can pitch differently when you've got a lead like this.
2-1, a little bit up, 3 balls and a strike. And so many pitchers will talk about the mental side of pitching with the lead and how much more comfortable it makes them, especially when you're struggling like Guthrie's been.
Well, you're not as predictable. You can actually invent stuff out there.
Hard hit, base hit for Cespedes. And Yoenis Cespedes, first base runner of the day for Detroit. Today's game is brought to you by Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Major League Baseball. Cespedes with a 1-out single. Up comes J.D. Martinez. This Tigers offense was so hot to begin the season, but spotty since. It's going to be the case when guys in the middle of your order are struggling, as J.D. Martinez is, hitless in his last 23 at bats. When it's not just J.D., we talked about Victor struggling. Yoenis Cespedes going through a bit of a slump of his own. I think the general consensus is this is a group that is going to hit as this year goes on.
Well, again, if they're healthy, Victor Martinez, he's tough to pitch to at any time, whether he's hurt or not hurt. J.D. Martinez, there are holes in his swing, and right now they're being exploited. The fact that pitchers are exploiting them, then that leads to a little mental dilemma as a hitter, and it just kind of snowballs. I mean, he's got to remain confident and know that he is a productive middle of the lineup guy. He's shown that. He showed it last year. Showed it the first couple of weeks of this year. But there is nothing more paralyzing as a hitter than to not have success. I mean, you can take all the BP, you can be told how good you are, all that. The only thing that solves it, base hits. You got to have some success. There's Wally Joyner, fine hitting coach for the Detroit Tigers. Excellent hitter in his day.
The 1-2. Martinez goes the other way for a base hit and snaps the 0 for 25. Dyson's throw is cut off, and Cespedes first to third. Sometimes that's all it takes, right? Just one to get it going.
Well, that's a lot better than lining out or anything. And look, he didn't hit this thing well. It's off the end of the bat. It's a 1-1 pitch. You know, it's not anything that you want to do. But what you do want is that result, the base hit right there. And that's something that, I can breathe now. He might get some sleep tonight. That is the best feeling as a hitter when you're struggling.
Coming to the park going to be a little more fun now?
Jeez, I mean, I just, that's the one thing I don't miss. I mean, you're sitting in there looking at your hotel ceiling or your room just going, I might never get another hit.
Here's Nick Castellanos taking a strike. His slump not as pronounced as Martinez, but going through one as well. 5 for 28 in the month of May.
Yeah, this is a guy that's been struggling as well. I mean, a 343 slugging percentage, 272 on base percentage. I mean, he's a lot better than that.
Hit in the air to right center. Could be deep enough to score Cespedes. Here's Dyson's throw. Nowhere close. Tigers on the board and a sacrifice fly from Castellanos. It's 4-1 here in the second. RBI for Castellanos, his 10th of the season, brings in Cespedes. And 3 of the guys that have been struggling for the Tigers combined to get their first run. Cespedes with a base hit, Martinez with a base hit, and then Castellanos brings home Cespedes with a sac fly. And brings up James McCann, who's stepping into a more significant role now with Avila on the disabled list. Guthrie delivers. Ball 1. Called up September 1st last year for his big league debut. And has been the backup this year to Avila. When he's had his opportunities, he's been good. 1-0. On the ground, left side, diving play. Escobar from his knees. Off of the glove of Hosmer. Heading towards third is Martinez. That throw's not in time. Everybody's safe.
Escobar does a nice job of gloving the ball. He makes a pretty decent throw. More often than not, Hosmer's going to pick that out. Not a very difficult pick, just because it was on the dirt. If you look where Hosmer's left foot was, though, it was on the inside part of the bag. This was a little risky. May even have had him right there.
But no challenge comes, and they play on with Andrew Romine taking a ball. Ruling there is single E6. So that's what allows Martinez to take third. They do give McCann a single to extend his hitting streak to 7 games. The 1-0. Romine cracks a roller to second for Infante to finish the inning. The Tigers get on the board with a sac fly from Nick Castellanos after 2. 4-1 Kansas City. On a sacrifice fly from Nick Castellanos. Joe Davis, Eric Karros back in Detroit. 5, 6, and 7 coming up for the Royals. Anibal Sanchez against Alex Gordon. That's the first inning of the game where the Royals haven't gotten a hit on the first pitch of the frame against Sanchez.
Well, Sanchez just didn't throw in a fastball. You saw that.
Yeah.
He rolled up a curveball, a little something different.
Gordon reaches out, pulls it foul, 1-1. 290 hitter. 3 home runs and 15 knocked in. The guy who's been an all-star in back-to-back seasons. Waits on this 1-1 and gets drilled. So Gordon reaches to begin this third inning. Leadoff man aboard, all 3 frames for Kansas City.
Well, we saw it with the signal. He's trying to go inside, right underneath the hands, about waist high. This one just gets away from Sanchez. No intent right there. But that does now bring the major league leading total to 23. That's the amount of hit by pitches the Royals have incurred this year. They were tied with Texas at 22.
8 of them he's won. 8 times Alex Gordon has been hit by a pitch. It's got to be more than some teams.
Yeah, and that's not fun. Not fun if you're the guy. And that's what oh, well, it just hit you in the leg. Oh, it was a curveball. Stand up there and get hit and tell me that.
Yeah, right. Here's Infante. Ball 1.
That's what kills me. You go to Little League games or something, you hear a coach say to a kid on an inside pitch, he gets out of the way, oh, you just got to wear it. Let it hit you.
Is that what they were teaching in the clinic this morning before the game?
Yeah.
Wear it, son.
Wear it.
The 1-0. Infante pops it back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Infante reached on a fielder's choice his first time up. Back in the park where he spent 8 years of his career. Was a Tiger from 02 through 07. And then again in 2012 and 2013. When he came over from the Marlins with Anibal Sanchez, who deals 1-1. Strike 2. "14 years in the bigs. He has struggled in his career against his former teammate Sanchez. Only 5 hits in 28 at-bats. Gordon at first to start the inning. Now Infante behind 1-2.
Infante he's a solid player. Not flashy or anything. Very good support player. Can play a number of positions. Can do a lot of things with the bat, hit and run, handles it well, can bunt, give you an occasional pop. Just a solid player.
Waits on this 1-2. 2-2. Anibal Sanchez, who's coming off 3 really good starts in a row. After those 2 starts in mid-April where he gave up 5 home runs in a 2-start stretch. He gave up 4 home runs all of last season. Infante just gets a piece to stay alive. And we talked about the dominance Sanchez has had against the Royals in his career. Over the last 3 years, he's given up 6 earned runs against the Royals. So far this year against the Royals, he's given up 6 earned runs. His 2-2. In the air to center. Routine for Ghosts. 1 away. Well, here's how the Royals got it going. First pitch of the game, Escobar climbed the ladder and hammered a home run. His first of the season. Hosmer followed with a double. So 2 in the first. They added 2 in the second on base hits from Escobar. And again, Hosmer. Both those guys with a couple of hits, a couple of RBIs. A 4-1 Kansas City lead. The runner at first and 1 away for Christian Colon. Started him with a fastball, floated to center. Ghost can't get it. It was read perfectly by Gordon, who goes first to third.
Well, Gordon does a nice job of reading this ball. You see, it's a hit and run, and he's running. He picks it up, knows that this ball is going to get down, moves on over to third base.
Our statistician Rick Krajewski checked for us. We mentioned he'd been hit 8 times this year. It's more than 11 teams. Wear it.
Wear it.
Yeah. Trod Dyson. Runners at the corners. One away in the third. Lays off. The pitch called a ball.
See, with Dyson up right now in this situation, you've got to go for the strikeout because you're not going to double him up. And if you don't get the strikeout, if you're painting corners, end up walking him, who cares? Then you have bases loaded. You got Butera coming up next, a double play candidate. Again, your team's just scored. You can't let them score here.
Little jam shot. Strike one.
Sanchez doesn't want to see that again. He's been getting doinked to death the last few hits.
Yeah, there were a couple that were hit hard. I mean, the Escobar homer, obviously, and the Hosmer double. But you're right. Outside of that,
I mean, you've had the Kane ball, the infield hit right there, that Cologne hit just a second ago.
The 1-1. Strike two.
All right, this is where it gets dicey because now you're getting greedy here, but you've got to throw a pitch that is off the plate. Make Dyson expand the zone. Don't want to give him something that he can put in play.
1-2. And he got a piece. Nice job there by Dyson to stay alive.
That's an excellent pitch right there. That thing darting out of the zone low.
Well, Brett Ausmus saying to us earlier today, sometimes Sanchez tends to get too fine in these situations, these high leverage situations, and opponents hitting above 400 with runners in scoring position.
Well, guys try to make the perfect pitch, and you don't necessarily need to make the perfect pitch.
Lots of strikeout here with runners at the corners and one away. Is 1-2.
See, and with Dyson at the plate, I like something up in the zone just because that forces him to hit the ball in the air. Maybe pop him up or maybe a shallow fly ball. But anything on the ground, he makes contact, they're not going to turn to it.
2-2. Curled it around the plate, and the count goes full. Gerard Dyson.
Now, if you're Sanchez right here, even though it's a 3-2 count, you cannot give in. You've got to try to make a pitch on a corner. You're not just throwing a strike. It does not matter if you walk him. If you walk him, oh well.
The 9-hitter Butera below 200 in his career, waiting on deck. Boy, Sanchez almost threw it away, gunning one to Castellanos. I think Gordon was standing in the back.
Yeah, not really sure what that was.
I mean, he was one step off of third.
Well, maybe they were hoping he'd overstep the bag.
Yeah, that's worked for him so far.
What we were featuring there, I don't know.
Payoff. Inside, just barely misses for ball 4. So that loads him up for Butera. This is game 1 of our doubleheader. Coming up next, it's the Braves and the Nationals. Their coverage beginning next. Every Saturday, Fox Sports 1 streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Nationals are right back in the discussion, having won 8 of 10. Right at 500 now. Bryce Harper the last couple days, 5 home runs over the last 2 games. So loaded up for Butera. The Royals trying to add to this 4-1 lead. Sanchez works out of the windup. First pitch upstairs, ball 1. Butera's first trip to the plate in a Royals uniform, laid down his sacrifice last inning. Gordon's at third. He was hit by a pitch. Cologne's at second after a single. Dyson at first. And a tapper over the mound is short. Romine will have one play. And scoring is Gordon, making it a 5-1 game. So an RBI for Butera. The order turned around back to the top.
Well, Sanchez did his job right there. He induced a ground ball. But again, as we mentioned, what's got to be frustrating for Sanchez is, yes, he has allowed some hard hit balls, but even the outs, they're not hit hard enough to turn a double play in that situation. Or ground ball not hit hard enough to Romine to be able to throw out Kane at first. I mean, Sanchez has got to be thoroughly frustrated right now.
Here's Escobar on the edge for strike one. Ned Yost was raving to us about Escobar before the game today. And he misses a week with a concussion. Was hit in the head by a pitch last week. Comes back. 2 hits last night in his return. 2 hits already in this one. The 0-1. Escobar fouls it off. Strike 2. This was last week against Cleveland. Really scary moment. He was hit in the head. Diagnosed with a concussion. 7-day DL, activated as soon as he was cleared. It's amazing to see a guy come back and be as aggressive as he's been. No hesitation at all after a scary moment like that. Waits on this 0-2. Ball 1.
Again, one of the things that is so great about this Kansas City offense, they don't strike out. They put the ball in play. Yet to have a strikeout today.
One, 2. Fades low and in. Even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 4 of the last 5 teams to lead baseball in runners in scoring position with 2 out hitting have gone to the World Series. Kansas City leading by a wide margin. Granted, it's only a month, but at what point do you stop saying it's only, fill in the blank?
Well, the thing about it is it's really a mindset and a confidence. You get up there, you start thinking, yeah, I can get a hit here. Yeah, we get hit. It becomes the norm. So when you're doing it for a month, then when you get up there in a situation where there's 2 outs and runners in score, you're not pressing. You're not thinking, oh, man, I got to get a hit. Oh, we got to get a hit. We never get hits with. All that stuff plays into the mental approach. And right now they believe they can do it.
Escobar with a nice 2-strike approach has fouled off a few offerings. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Alcides Escobar. Said 4 of the last 5 years. The team has gone on to the World Series after leading the league in that category. The 1 year that they didn't, it was the Tigers. They were second in runners in scoring position with 2 outs. Another 2-2 from Sanchez, and Escobar takes upstairs. Count goes full. Cologne at third, Dyson at second. 2 gone here in the third. Sanchez really having to grind today. 3-2. Bouncing ball to Castellanos. Took a tough bounce. Made a nice play to retire the side. Royals add a run. They've scored in all 3 innings against Anibal Sanchez and lead 5-1. First, 2 in the second, 1 in the third. Kansas City in a 5-1 lead against Detroit. Bottom 3 here. The top of the order for the Tigers up against Jeremy Guthrie. His first one to Anthony Gose. Drops in, strike 1. Gose grounded out the second, his first time. Platoons in the outfield with Rajai Davis. Gose makes the starts against right-handed pitching. He falls behind 0-2. Guthrie's 0-2, and he's got his first punch out. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt for a game break. All right, Kevin, here it's 5-1 KC. Got through with his first punch out. Now faces Ian Kinsler, who pulls a bouncing ball to short. Picked up by Escobar. Good adjustment by Hosmer. And 2 away in this third inning.
Well, talking to Ned Yost prior to the game, 2 guys on this team that are really irreplaceable. Perez at catcher, Escobar at short. And you can see Escobar doing a nice job of surrounding that ball. Gets rid of it quick. Haas making a nice play, shifting the feet over at first.
Here's Miguel Cabrera taking ball 1. By most defensive metrics, and there is no perfect way to equate defense, but by most metrics, this Kansas City team far and away the best in baseball defensively. Strike 1 on Cabrera. Cabrera takes upstairs, and it's 2-1.
Well, so far today, this is the second time Guthrie has faced Cabrera. Both times, 2 outs, nobody on. If you have to face him, this is the best way to do it.
2-1. He pulls a liner to short. There's Escobar again, making his presence felt in both phases of the game so far today. Couple of hits, couple of RBIs, and in this inning, a couple of dazzling defensive plays. Vote for your All-Stars with the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. For the 2015 All-Star Game, vote at MLB.com/vote. You catch all the excitement of the 86th Major League Baseball All-Star Game on Fox, July 14th. 2, 3, and 4 for the Royals in this inning. Again, Sonny Ball Sanchez, Lorenzo Cain taking strike one. Ball one. Cain singled in the first inning and scored, and then in the second hit an absolute rope to right that went off of the glove of Martinez. It was ruled an error. Waits on this 1-1 and hammers it to left, right at Cespedes. One away. It's a Kansas City team that started the season 7-0. And they were 11-3, below 500 since. But when you consider everything that they've gone through, they're really happy about being a half game out. They lead the majors in number of players that have been made inactive since the season started.
Well, and I think that speaks to Ned Yost talking about how deep this ball club is. He did mention to us prior that Escobar and Perez really the two guys that just, they don't have a lot of depth in those positions. They have guys that can fill in, but you lose either one of those guys, you're going to have an issue. And not to say that the other guys aren't valuable, but they have guys that, Moustakas out right now at the bereavement. You have other guys that can step in offensively, or other guys can shoulder the load. But if you don't have your shortstop, or you don't have your catcher, you got some issues.
Got their first baseman, and he's down 1-2. Yeah, so dealt with injuries, dealt with the suspensions. You mentioned Mike Moustakas on the bereavement list for what has been worded as a family emergency this weekend.
You see the Tigers in a shift. Got the triangle on the right side of the infield.
Interesting to see Sanchez go away, even though they have the pull shift on.
Well, you and I talked about it prior to the game, that a lot of information that even when pitches aren't in that pull zone, meaning inside to the hitter, pull hitters will still pull the pitch.
Case in point, Kinsler 2 away.
There's always been a lot of argument, especially from the pitchers or other people that don't subscribe to the shift. Oh yeah, but if they don't hit their spots, then they won't hit it into the shift. If they're throwing it outside, they're not going to pull it. Well, all the data says that even on pitches that you wouldn't think are pullable, an outside pitch, the hitters that are pull happy, they still pull it more often than not, and it makes sense to play the shift. We just saw it right there with Eric Hosmer.
Now it's Morales taking a strike, and Morales facing an overshift as well. Sanchez tries to work his first perfect frame of the day. Tries to work his first scoreless frame of the day. 0-1 to Morales. And it's 0-2. Morales has been a nice piece for this team. He's checking on making sure everybody's okay where that ball went. Up into the first or second row behind the Tigers dugout.
Hey, you talk about Morales having a nice year. The irony with all these athletes, speedsters, he's leading the team coming in today with runs scored.
And he pokes that one into the gap. Ghost took a horrible angle at it. Morales has a double to keep this inning alive. That was something that were lacking last year, and that is power. And not that they're hitting all kinds of home runs this year, but they have added some.
No, but the slugging percentage, though, 5th in all of baseball. You see that pitch out over the plate. He just flips it out there. Stays back, stays behind that front leg. Uses his hands, stays through the ball, doesn't come around it.
They'll put Gordon on and face Infante. One of the reasons that people coming into this season didn't think the Royals were going to be as good as they've proven to be, the argument was that postseason offense they had last year was an aberration, because if you go a little farther than that, look into the regular season last year, they were 9th in the American League in runs scored. They were dead last in walks, dead last in homers.
So speaking with Ned Yost, he was telling us that he believed in these guys because he sees the talent every day. He knows that these guys can play. So the one thing that was lacking really is their own confidence. And I think a lot of those guys generated that after their experience in the postseason. And I don't care what sport you're talking about, there is not one that demands as much confidence than this one. Baseball is the most difficult sport mentally.
They want Gordon to get to Infante. It takes ball 1.
You don't count chess as a sport, do you? I mean, I don't
Why,
want to hear about that.
mental?
I don't know. I'm going to guess somebody's going to go, oh, chess.
That's why you're not on Twitter, so you don't have to hear the.
I mean, Burkhart back in the studio is probably saying chess is a sport. I played that as a kid.
I bet he's good at chess. Strike 1.
The guy can eat, man. I'll tell you that.
Is there a correlation?
Back in the studio, holy cow! I've never seen a guy eat so much.
Salmon today, I hear. I'm all right with missing salmon day. I'm a big seafood guy. Sanchez to Infante with a 1-1. Bouncing ball towards the middle, base hit into center. Morales comes home to score, and a 2-out rally for the Royals makes it 6-1. RBI single, Omar Infante. Kansas City has scored in all 4 frames.
So again, it's not like that ball was hit hard. It just found its way through the infield. But it's not a situation of, oh, the Royals are lucky or they're just getting the breaks. That's not the issue. They don't strike out. They put the ball in play. If you continue to put the ball in play, good things will happen.
12th RBI for Infante. Now here's Christian Colon. Off speed, strike 1. Colon's 1 for 2. We talked about the injuries the Royals have had to deal with. Colon has been a really valuable piece, filling in different spots in the diamond for those injuries. Plugged in for Infante when he was dealing with a groin at second, and then in for Escobar at short when Escobar was down with a concussion. This weekend, Colon's over at third, replacing Moustakas. He waits on this 0-1. Down the right side, Martinez runs under it to end the inning. Sanchez retired the first 2, and the Royals rally to add 1, 6-1. Sports 1. The top drivers in the world are under the lights in Kansas for the SpongeBob SquarePants 400. With Jeff Gordon looking to defend his title from last year in his final season on the track. 7 Eastern tonight on Fox Sports 1. So there's my SpongeBob reference for the day.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. Middle third of the order for the Tigers. Victor Martinez taking strike 1. Fly to left his first time. Having a bat left-handed against Guthrie. Not nearly as good from this side of the plate as he battles that knee injury. Overshift is on. He waits on this 0-1. Ball 1. At what point, if you were Victor Martinez, would you consider bailing on the left-handed hitting and just being a righty?
No, that's not going to happen. I mean, the reality is you've got to know yourself as a hitter. Coming back from a surgery, you have to know that you're not going to be hitting the ball out of the park. You're not going to have your legs under you. So, whether that's using your hands more, whether that's being content with hitting it in situations where you just look at, I'm happy to just hit a single the other way. I'm happy to just get on base. And that's tough because hitting becomes, there's a lot of ego when you step in that box. But he's got to know what he can and can't do right now.
He's ahead 3-1. Yeah, I mean, normally I wouldn't recommend that, but 400-point difference based on the side of the plate that he hits from.
Yeah, that's not happening right now. And so, but this is what I would say. So now 3-1. When you're healthy, 3-1, and you're Victor Martinez, you're driving something. Right now you got to be content with, I'm going to get a single. I'm going to just hit the ball the other way, or I'm going to be very selective, maybe even take. But until he feels it, like I said, you've got to change a bit. I know I went through a situation like this as a former player. I had a knee surgery in spring training, missed the first month, and that year I did not hit for the same power that I had done in the past. And like I said, it's more of a mental grind than anything.
3-2 from Guthrie. Goes the other way with a fly ball. Land of the seats. We'll do it again.
And so you notice today that Martinez's swings, he's been going the other way, and that's not by design. I mean, he's late on fastballs, and he's late because he can't use his bottom half. He has to cheat to get the front side going. When you start doing that, you become susceptible to the other pitches, and it snowballs.
Another 3-2 from Guthrie. He got in on him, popped him up. Who will take charge? Infante, one away. Kevin Burkhardt, time for a game break.
You pegged him right, BK.
He's got the body built for chess.
Here's Cespedes, who doesn't have the chest build. Yeah, and rakes one down the left side. That's a base hit. Gordon over to get it. Cespedes will have extra bases. His second hit of the day. And the first extra base hit of the day for the Tigers.
Cespedes does a nice job of getting that bat head out in front. Really been the only one to hit the ball hard against Guthrie today.
11 double. He's second in the American League in that category. And see if JD Martinez can build off of his first hit in the month of May. The other way, his last time up for a single. Takes strike 1.
He went the other way, but let's not kid ourselves. That was not by design. That was just
him being late.
Stick the bat out there, and oh, thank goodness I found some real estate. But like I said, as a hitter, and especially when you're struggling, you'll embrace that every single day of the week.
1-1. Pops out of the glove of Butera, but holding it second is Cespedes.
You know, as one-sided as his game has been so far, you know, Martinez gets a hold of one here. It's a 6-3. We got ourselves a ball game.
Here's a 2-1. Outside, 3 balls and a strike.
So now this is where you're just up there and get with the score the way it is, the count in your favor, the ability that you have as a hitter. You're looking to lift and separate.
3-1. Patiently watches his zip outside. Ball 4. He's got a walk. 2 on with 1 out. You can use hashtag this all season long to share the amazing moments that only happen in Major League Baseball. So a walk for JD Martinez. First and second for Castellanos. First walk issued today by Guthrie. Castellanos, who's driven in the only Detroit run with a sacrifice fly, stands in. Guthrie's first one, ball 1. And out to have a talk is Butera. Their first game is a battery. Butera's first game in a Royals uniform. Good defensive catcher. He's never hit for a high average, but
no, he can throw though. Man, he can throw. He's even pitched some. Came in for the Dodgers last year in a blowout. But that's a situation. You're going out to the mound right there. You're not talking any mechanic. It's just to give your pitcher a break. Just, hey, don't worry about it. We're up 6-1.
Good job to lay off. 2 balls and no strikes. Nick Castellanos. Second year as the everyday third baseman for the Tigers. That spot was opened up really by the Prince Fielder deal that allowed Miguel Cabrera to move from third to first.
Gotta love this pitch.
2-1.
See, that's an excellent job right there at the plate by Castellanos. So that's a strike, but that's a great pitch. You're not going to do anything with that. You can slap something to right. You got 2 more strikes to get something that you can drive. Excellent patience.
So now the 2-1, same spot, same decision. 2-2.
And still smart. So now it gets into a situation where you're trying to cover. This is an excellent pitch by Guthrie. You see that fastball, it kind of runs back over the outer part of the plate. So now if you're Castellanos, you've got to look out there. You've got to be ready to protect. If you're Guthrie, you go a few inches further out or you come hard in.
Butera will set outside. And he hits the same spot again for strike 3. Painting the corner, 3 pitches in a row. 2 gone in the 4th.
So it's obviously what Butera said, just throw it outside. Ooh. Now that pitch right there is out. But because he hit his spots the last 2 times, Mark Ripperger gave him that pitch. Again, that is not a strike, but it is after you threw the other 2 where you did.
So it's up to James McCann, who singled his first time. Batting with 2 on and 2 out here in the 4th. Right back there. Strike 1.
See, now right now he's got the umpire locked in. And what I mean by that is he is continuing to throw out there. He's shown that he's going to hit that glove. So now the zone expands a little bit out there. As a hitter, not a lot of fun.
Setting outside again and delivering 0-1. Right back there this time. Just a touch outside, according to Mark Ripperger. It's 1-1. Veteran Guthrie pitching like it at times today. 12th year with time in the majors. Delivers 1-1. Good stop. 2-1. Been with Cleveland, Baltimore, Colorado. Came to Kansas City in 2012 in a trade for Jonathan Sanchez. He's had a winning record all 3 seasons he's been in Kansas City. Never did over his first 8 years. 2 on and 2 out, and a 2-1 to James McCann. Living on that outside edge. Strike 2.
I mean, he could just tell him right now, I'm throwing it outside. I'm going on the corner. Here it comes. I'm throwing it out there. Here it comes. I mean, that's how good he's been these last 2 hitters. Just wearing it out there on that outside. And you can just say, go, hey, Mr. McCann, I'm throwing it outside right now. Here it comes. If you can hit it, great.
Runners will get a head start. 2 outs and a full count. And Guthrie comes home. Right back to the outside corner at 94 with a fastball, and McCann swings through it. Tigers strand a pair. Back-to-back Ks to finish the frame for Guthrie. Right here on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Nationals are back at 500, having won 8 of 10. Try to clinch a series win in that one. Sonny Ball Sanchez misses low to Gerard Dyson starting this 5th inning. Dyson doubled in the 2nd, walked in the 3rd. And waits on this 1-0. Bunts it hard to 3rd. Castellanos will throw him out. Shows the speed though. Still a fairly close play, even though it was bunted sharply. Honeyball Sanchez trying to settle in, and the staff, which was so good early on this season, was the best in baseball for the first week and a half, has been down at the bottom of the barrel since.
And coming into the season, was one of the concerns. You know, absence of Scherzer, obviously gone to Washington. Porcello traded to Boston, and then Verlander on the disabled list. Those are 3 15-game winners from last year. Not here so far for the Tigers. Starting pitching started off well. Shane Green, Alfredo Simon. They've had a bit of a hiccups. Sanchez hasn't been his typical Sanchez self.
Butera pops one behind first. Kinsler on the move. 2 gone. So Sanchez, like he did in the 4th, retires the first 2. Now can he cap off his first scoreless frame? Working with James McCann for the 2nd time. First time they were battery mates. back on April 18th. Gave up 9 runs on 9 hits as part of that worst two-game stretch of his career.
Yeah, and that's where you get into the discussion of Avila being out. Avila is the grandfather, the longtime scout for the Dodgers. But him being out, that is going to impact his pitching staff, especially with his experience, his ability behind the plate. And I think it's noticeable right there. I mean, is that just a coincidence that Sanchez has had 2 rough starts with McCann behind the plate? I don't think so.
One and 2 on Escobar. Yeah, well, you've got McCann, who was called up last September 1st. He was drafted 3 years ago, and then Avila's been in the bigs for 7 years now. With this team for 7 years now. That's a big gap.
Well, and Avila also just his knowledge as a baseball player. I mean, he's been around the game since he was a little kid.
Escobar did offer the first scoreless inning of the game, put up there by Sanchez, who needed just 8 pitches to retire the Royals here in the 5th. Tigers have been playing from behind all day. Royals got 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth. 6-1 as we start the bottom of the 5th with Andrew Romine taking ball 1 from Jeremy Guthrie, who's given up 4 more runs in all but 1 of his starts. Just last Sunday gave up 6 runs to this same lineup. 1-0 in the hands, foul ground. Butera with room. Romine's the first out of the 5th. And Ned Yost following that start on Sunday for Guthrie, where he gave up season highs in both runs and hits, backed him. He said, you know what, this is a guy who's been around. He's 36 years old now. He's played for 12 years. He deserves a chance to figure it out.
Well, he knows how to pitch. There's no question about that. As I said, the stuff isn't overpowering, but he has experience. He can pitch with what they call guile. Again, knows what to do in certain situations. And look, when your offense puts up 2 runs before you even have to throw a pitch, that gives you room for error. When you got 4 runs, then you really got a lot of things to play with.
Goes, pounds the ball into the corner. He'll have extra bases. Same spot he deposited that double last night to start the 9th inning before scoring the game's winning run. His first hit of the day.
Well, he's fun to watch run. He hits that ball into the corner. He's just cruising on into second base. You know, that is one of the things this year when we talk about the Tigers at the top of that lineup. There is speed. You know, whether it's Kinsler and Ghost or if you've got Davis up there, they are a more athletic team.
Cespedes can run a little bit, not a blazer, but definitely improve the speed. First one to Kinsler. At the knees for a strike. He's twice grounded out to short. Monday after going 4 for 4. Followed the double from Ghost in the 9th inning last night with a bunt that was thrown away by Johan Pino. 0-1. Kinsler lifts it in the air to center. Kane is there. Ghost tags and takes third, 2 away. Well, the Game Changer profile is brought to you by T-Mobile, official sponsor of Game Changers. Victor Martinez coming to the plate since 2014. He's been one of the best in baseball in batting average. Miguel Cabrera comes to the plate here. 3 guys in this game, part of the top 6 in the American League over the last season plus. First one to Cabrera. Strike 1. Guthrie challenged him with a fastball. Cabrera swung through it. 0 for 2 today with a fly out to center and a line out to short. Tigers trying to take advantage of a 1-out double from Ghost, who's now at third. It's Cabrera. Bouncing one to straightaway short for the sure-handed Escobar. The inning is over. So once again, the Tigers strand a man and down 6-1 as we go to the 6th. All week, literally until this morning, they were calling for rain today, but the sun has been out pretty much from first pitch. 6th inning begins with Lorenzo Cain taking strike 1 from Anibal Sanchez. Cain 1 for 3 today, singled and scored back in that first inning. Right after Alcides Escobar homered on the first pitch of the game. Sanchez has been trying to settle in since. 1-1.
Yeah, Sanchez just hasn't been able to command his pitches. Early on, the Royals were swinging it the very first pitch, putting it in play, and then he's had some bad breaks, but he just hasn't been sharp. Is that because the battery, James McCann behind the plate, as we showed earlier in the show, he had a rough outing earlier in the year with McCann behind the plate.
Well, we better hope that's not the issue, because Avila's on the DL now.
Yeah.
It's going to be his guy for at least a bit here. Brian Holiday was called up from AAA Toledo. It was a corresponding move for the Tigers, so he's now the second catcher. 2-2 to Kane. Goes full. On Lorenzo Kane. Hosmer to follow. 2, 3, and 4 for Kansas City, trying to add to a 6-1 lead. Payoff. To left. Cespedes makes a running catch. First down of the inning. We welcome you back inside our broadcast booth. Joe Davis and Aaron Karros. On this Royals offense, I mean, this is a group, the one piece that during the regular season last year was missing. They got hot in the postseason. They've stayed that way so far most of this year, and they've been really sharp today.
Well, they have been sharp. What they've done that they've been doing all year, they put the ball in play. They just don't strike out. Only 2 strikeouts today. And you compare that to Detroit. They had some runners on, and then Castellanos strikes out looking, McCann strikes out swinging. And something that Kansas City does better than anybody in all of baseball, they don't strike out.
Hosmer fouls one off. He had the strikeout for Escobar to finish the 5th. It's the only one for Sanchez today. Hosmer goes way up high to tomahawk that ball to left, and Cespedes up for the challenge. 2 up and 2 down.
Well, Cespedes has been involved today, made some nice defensive plays, has a couple of hits, scored the lone run for the Tigers.
Cespedes in his first year in Detroit. Morales in his first year in Kansas City. Doubled and scored his last time up. When the Royals brass was looking at signing Kendrys Morales this offseason, they said basically they had to throw out last year's numbers and take a look at the full body of work for his career. He didn't sign until early June last year, so he didn't have a full spring training, didn't have those first couple of months of the year, never really got going, and because of that they got him at a bargain price. Waits on this 2-0, strike one.
Well, and besides what he does out on the field, as the Royals have discovered, and basically they knew before signing him, he's great in the clubhouse. He's as good a guy as there is in the game. Mixes in well with his teammates. And that's something that Ned Yost had a game earlier this year when they played the Angels, and we were talking about Kendrys Morales and what did you know about him, and he said we thought that when healthy he could play, but we knew that he would be readily accepted and that he would be great in our clubhouse, and he has been.
He's down on strikes. Read too where they said they knew that he'd work hard to overcome. He escaped Cuba on his 13th try. Up by Anibal Sanchez to keep it a 6-1 game. Now the Tigers trying to get some offense going in front of a good crowd on this Saturday afternoon. Taking in this growing rivalry. Middle game in a 3-game set. Game 6 of 19 between these AL Central rivals this year. Middle third of the order for the Tigers. Victor Martinez looking for his first hit of the day. Jeremy Guthrie has been really sharp. Delivers strike one. Defensive shift on. They shift even more. Colon moves over. Guthrie's 0-on to Martinez. Pulled in the air to right. Back on it goes Dyson. It's in the gap and rolls up against the wall. So there's some power from the left side as Martinez splits the gap and gets a double to begin this 6th.
Now this pitch out over the middle part of the plate. You see he pulls it and he's got a good spot where he hits it. Now, did he drive that thing? Did he absolutely crush it? I mean, probably. For what he can do left side, yeah, he did. Now you got to remember that's 365 to the alley out there, and you know that thing hit the grass and got there. I mean, he'll take it, but like I said, still without the legs, I'm just not seeing the power, not seeing the drive.
It's only his 4th extra base hit of the season. Now Cespedes pops it up. It's Kane in center. First time Cespedes has been retired today. Tigers have had a base runner in all but 2 of the innings, but only 1 run to show for it. JD Martinez comes up now against Guthrie. Try and cut into this 5-run deficit.
Well, remember, he walked last time up, and he did get a hit in his first at-bat, but everything Guthrie has done today with Martinez has been away, away, away. So if I'm up there hitting an RBI situation, I'm looking for something up and away to drive.
Down and away, took it for a ball.
You know, Guthrie's told you today, I'm not coming inside for a strike. If I do come in, it's going to be off the plate. So you got to hope he makes a mistake out over the plate, up and away.
Gutierrez setting outside. It's hittable, pulled foul. 1-1.
That pitch on the outer part of the plate, Martinez pulling it, his hands coming around the ball. When he's going well, he's inside the ball, and he can hit the ball out easily here in right center. Not because it's an easy park, but because he has that much power.
The 1-1. 1-2. Reached both times today. Single in the 2nd. Walk in the 4th. Like you said, Guthrie's continued to pound the way. Terra sets outside again. Martinez lays off a breaking ball. That location has been really impeccable today for him.
Well, he's found a groove, and it's on the right side of the plate. He's just been there all day long, whether it's with the left-handed hitters or the right-handed hitters. He's worked one side of the plate the entire day. Again, we're talking about adjustments. As a hitter, as a team, you've got to understand that. You've got to look for something out there.
Hit in the air to center and got under it. Kane is back to make the play. Victor Martinez didn't consider tagging, but just barely missed that one, and 2 away in the 6th. Sounded good.
It sounded good, but again, that's a pitch that if you could wait a little longer, he'll drive that to right center and hit it out. You see Guthrie right there. I mean, he's done a little bit of everything. He's induced the fly balls, the ground balls, a few strikeouts to mix it up. You know, both of those were big strikeouts as well. Got Castellanos and McCann with runners on 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, to that point, Tigers now 0 for 7 with men in scoring position today. Castellanos takes one that just misses low and away. Again, Guthrie targeting that left side of the plate. It's 1-0 on Castellanos. Tigers in danger of wasting a leadoff double from Victor Martinez. Guthrie trying to pitch around it. He pitches 1-0. In the air to right. Back on it is Dyson. Carrying well to the wall. He leaps. They collide and the ball falls. Martinez will score and Castellanos goes to third. Tigers catch a break. It's 6-2. Right now, Kane and Dyson having a conversation. You had it? No?
Well, that's right in the spot, too, where that wall jets out. And I think Dyson felt like he had a beat on it. You see, neither one of them touch it with their glove. It hits the yellow part of the wall. But finally, the Tiger hitter drives the ball to right center. And again, we've talked about that's where Guthrie has lived all day long.
They rule it a triple for Castellanos. Now McCann. Taking ball one.
So Castellanos, at least it looked or appeared that he made the adjustment. The previous at-bat, he strikes out looking on all outside pitches. So McCann, did he learn anything in his previous at-bat? Everything was away.
Hit to left for Gordon. He's on to make the play, and the inning is over. But the Tigers do get one. Castellanos triples in Martinez with 2 outs, and it's 6-2 after 6. With MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Every night on every device, visit MLB.TV for details. The pitcher comes into the game. It's Blaine Hardy replacing Anibal Sanchez to begin the 7th inning. His 10th outing. Will face Gordon, Infante, and Colon. Starts with ball one. Hardy, a guy that was actually drafted by Kansas City back in 2008. Was released during spring training in 2013. Signed with the Tigers soon after. It's 1-1.
Well, left-handed pitching is where the Royals, may be a bit susceptible. They've got the big left-handed hitters in Moustakas and Hosmer and Gordon. With the absence of Rios right now, right fielder still recovering from a broken hand. right-handed hitter, they are a bit vulnerable to left-handed pitching.
Gordon has reached all 3 times today without a hit. Walked in the first, was hit by a pitch in the third, and then was walked intentionally his last time up. Hardy's 2-2. Strike 3 over the inside corner. Gordon retired. Here the 7th and a 6-2 game with the Royals in front of the Tigers. Kansas City trying to even this series up at a game apiece, trying to even the season series at 3 games apiece. Joe Davis, Eric Karros, Comerica Park, downtown Detroit on a picture-perfect Saturday afternoon. Here's Infante, who's 1 for 3. Strike 1. Knocked in Kendrys Morales with a 2-out single in the 4th. And attacks that one, pulls it down the line for another base hit. Cespedes over to cut it off. He's got a good arm, but his throw is not in time, and the ball bounces by Kinsler. Infante's in with a double.
Well, Cespedes is doing a nice job of hustling over into that corner, and then he gets that ball in. Does a decent job of cutting it off. Infante from the get-go was thinking too. See that throw in there, just short hops Kinsler.
Royals now 24 hits in 15 innings in this series. Christian Colon. And the runner at second and 1 out here in the 7th.
Well, and you think about it too, they're doing this without Mike Moustakas.
Right.
Big part of this offense.
Colon, the guy filling in for him today. One of many former first-round picks on this team. Couldn't lay off, good back foot pitch, 0-2. Drafted out of Cal State Fullerton. He's been an important piece this year with the injuries they've had. Waits on an 0-2 and pulls a base hit to left. Cespedes up with it. Infante testing his arm. Bad idea. 2 gone. Up to second goes Colon. Base hit. He'll advance on the throw. Cespedes guns down Infante at the plate.
Yeah, we've seen Cespedes make some fantastic throws over the course of his young career. No question that he's got a strong arm. McCann does a nice job of going up and getting that ball.
So 2 outs for Dyson. Out of the 8th spot with Colon at second. Hardy deals. Strike 1. Remember the throw he had in his first year from the warning track? The one that kind of put him on the map?
Yeah, did that with Oakland. I believe it was against the Angels, if I'm not mistaken. He just kind of launched that thing from left field all the way home.
Dyson fouls it off, 0-2. Already trying to keep it a 4-run game here in the 7th inning. Breaking ball a little bit up, and it's 1-2.
Excellent curveball right there. Just froze Dyson. It wasn't a situation where he was taking the pitch because he thought it was a ball. It just fooled him. I think it fooled the home plate umpire as well.
So now 1-2. One misses up, 2-2. Already made his big league debut last year. Made 38 appearances for the Tigers. It was solid quietly. Right around 2.5. Tigers hoping he can be part of the equation those middle innings to get to Joakim Soria. 2-2. And a floater to short for Romine to end the inning. After the Royals scored in each of the first 4 frames, zeros over the last 3, giving the Tigers a chance to get back in it. Middle 7, 6-2. Follow your favorite team and players all season long with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights and plenty more. First pitch is hit in the air to center by Romine. And Kane will put it away for the first out of the inning. And against Jeremy Guthrie, putting together his best start of the season. He's given up 4 runs or more in all but one of his starts. Location has been really good. He's gotten out of a couple of jams, minor jams. And has a 6-2 lead to work with. But like you've mentioned a couple of times, that lead has been such an important piece of the way he's pitched today.
Well, it has, but as you mentioned, you got to give all the credit to Jeremy Guthrie and the way he's pitched. I mean, he has lived on the corners when he's had to make pitches, been in any type of trouble, just wearing out that outside part of the plate to the right-handed hitters. I mean, Ned Yost couldn't have asked for anything more. Told us before the game the bullpen they needed. There were some guys that had been overworked a bit. You know, you couldn't have scripted this any better. Guthrie has answered the bell. I can't say enough about what he's done so far today.
1-1 goes, swings and misses, 1-2. The bullpen you mentioned have been overworked a little bit, and they've thrown 14 innings over the final 2 games of the Indian series. Few innings last night. Rodano Ventura was pretty darn good after a rough first inning. So this is just what the doctor ordered for KC. Got in on him, rolled the first, goes good speed, got it or in time to get him, with Guthrie covering off of the flip from Hosmer.
Well, Guthrie doing a nice job of hustling over there. Catches the ball before he gets to the bag, and that is so important that the first baseman get the pitcher the ball before he gets to the base. Not one of those things where let's try to time it right at the base. He's hustling over there. Hosmer does a nice job. That's really a nice play. A lot of moving pieces right there.
And as sharp as Guthrie has been, he's not worked a 1-2-3 inning since the 3rd. Chance to do so here. And fills up strike one to Ian Kinsler. Looking for his first hit of the day. The 0-1. Lifted off of the hands to left. Gordon is there to put a capper on a 1-2-3 frame for Guthrie. 7 solid innings today. Royals comfortably in front, 6-2. Nettie Osteen cruising out front 6-2 as we get ready to start the 8th here in Detroit. He brings 9-1-2 to the plate against Al Albuquerque, who replaces Blaine Hardy, 3rd pitcher of the game for the Tigers. Albuquerque, another guy trying to settle in. That ERA up around 8.5 over 11 outings this year. This is with ball 1-2 Butera. Strike 1. Albuquerque, somebody that they had planned on relying on, especially with Joe Nathan going down and Soria moving into the closer's role. That they needed more as far as setup. And Albuquerque so far in his 5th big league season struggling to numbers that he's not seen over the course of his career prior to this year. 1-2. The foul.
Yeah, it's one of the things you talked about with this Tiger ball club, getting that ball to Soria. Who is going to be that guy? Or who are those guys? Right now it's kind of a mix and match sort of thing. Definitely some arms down there. But that's one of the things when Nathan goes down that it moves everybody as far as their role is concerned.
2-2. Popped up on the infield. Kinsler, Romine. It's Romine to make the play. Don't want to interrupt Kevin Burkhart's chess game or salmon, but we're going to check in anyways with the game break.
I think those are the dessert meatballs that we got last week in the studio.
Here's Escobar back at the top of the Kansas City order. And remember, he was hit in the head by a pitch a little more than a week ago. Spent a week on the disabled list with a concussion, which is, to me, what's made it even more amazing that he's been as aggressive and as sharp as he's been in his 2 games back.
Well, fortunately, he was in the helmet. It's still, you're going to get a concussion. It's not a lot of fun.
And sharply on a tough bounce, Kinsler, 2 outs.
And that's one of the things that you do get hit in the face or the head. You got to get right back on in the box. I mean, you don't want to watch video of it. You don't want to look at it. It's just get back in the box and play, because you see some other things, or you think about it, then it becomes a mental problem getting back in the box, not just physical.
Right, yeah, concussion or not, the mental part of overcoming.
That's it. That's it. That's the biggest part.
Renzo Kane has hit the ball sharply several times today. 1 for 4. As Luke Hochevar gets loose, as if Kansas City needed another arm in that bullpen. Returned from Tommy John surgery, missed all of last season. Made his first appearance in that final game of the Cleveland series this week, or the Minnesota series this week, and it was really good. Granted, it was one outing, but it looks like they've got another dynamite arm down there.
Well, just another option for Ned Yost. And
there's a base hit to center for Kane.
Everybody talks about the vaunted 3, Herrera, Davis, and Holland in this bullpen. You can't run them out there every day. And there are going to be times where you're going to have to rest them. I mean, you need them at their peak for September and October. And so this is just another button that Ned Yost can push.
In the 8th right now, Guthrie's gone the first 7 for Kansas City. Ned Yost told us that Wade Davis probably not available today. Kelvin Herrera serving the suspension. And so the only guy out of that group that is available would be Greg Holland. But to your point, there are other guys that have gotten it done for Kansas City outside of those big 3, and they've had to, with Holland being one of the many guys that spent time on the disabled list over the first month. Eric Hosmer taking ball 1. Hosmer helped Kansas City get out to that early lead. Singleton scored in the first, or doubled homer run in the first, and then Singleton a run in the second. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, single runs in the third and the fourth. Detroit getting single runs in the second and in the 6th.
And Kansas City just jumping out to a quick start before the Tigers even had a chance to settle in. First pitch of the game, a home run. 2 hitters later, it's 2-0.
Big bouncer to second that Kinsler waits on and throws out a sprinting Hosmer to end the inning. Scoreless frame for Al Albuquerque to the bottom of the 8th, 6-2. still going, facing Miguel Cabrera. Takes a bender for a strike. Cabrera has owned Guthrie in his career, but today 0 for 0-1. Ball one.
Well, this is the way you keep Miguel Cabrera quiet. This is the 3rd time up to the plate, twice coming up with 2 outs and nobody on. The other time, 2 outs, a runner on 3rd. Hitters in front of him just haven't put him in a position to do some real damage.
One, two. Cabrera lifts it in the air down the right field line. Dyson has room. Cabrera's retired for the first out of the 8th. Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with AYSO, the world's largest soccer club. Go to ayso.org/play. Find your region. Sign up for your fall team today. So Cabrera's gone, and up comes Victor Martinez against Guthrie. Martinez with a double in his last at-bat. Scored the Tigers' 2nd run and a Castellanos triple. That was in the 6th. The other Tigers run coming in the 2nd. A Castellanos sacrifice fly. Guthrie delivers, and Martinez takes strike 1. What is the reason for the 3rd baseman Colon, and he's done this several times against Martinez, but not going into the overshift until the 2nd pitch? Any idea?
I can't answer that one. Let me think of that. Why would that happen? I don't know. They didn't get the sign quick enough.
But they've done it against Martinez
on the 2nd pitch
times.
twice. One of the things too.
That ball's hit well. Dyson back on it, turns and plays the bounce. Goes right by him, but the hobbled Martinez settles for a single.
One of the things that they have not been able to quantify yet is what a shift does to the hitter mentally, and how does that change his approach. So maybe, the first pitch, okay, we're not going to shift, and then we go to shift, and how is that going to impact the guys? Here he drives this ball. Dyson plays it into a double, but again, Martinez having trouble with those legs.
Heck of a job by Jeremy Guthrie today. He leads with a 6-2 lead in the 8th inning on a day where the Royals really needed him to go deep. Coach Haver comes in. We come back in a moment. Best start of the year for Jeremy Guthrie, 7 1/3. He's replaced with a 6-2 advantage here in the 8th inning by Luke Hochevar. Will make his second outing since returning from Tommy John surgery. 1-2-3 inning on Thursday in his first outing since 2013. Yoenis Cespedes there to greet him. And he bounces one to third. Colon to second one. Infante to first, but late. Fielder's choice. One pitch and one out for Hochevar. Former first rounder. Former #1 overall pick out of Tennessee. Struggled as a starter earlier in his career. Moved to the bullpen in 2013 and thrived. And so much momentum when that season finished. Then had to miss the entire 2014 season after Tommy John surgery. His first one to J.D. Martinez. Fouled off.
You know, we talk about the job that Guthrie did today. Let's see, Hochevar. I think a lot of credit also has to go to Drew Butera. I mean, this is his first game catching for the Royals. First time with Jeremy Guthrie. You know, just as we talked about, maybe there wasn't a lot of synergy with McCann and Sanchez. I mean, the job that Butera did today, guiding Guthrie, been awesome.
Lazy fly right side. Dyson calling off Kane. And that's the inning. So Hochevar comes on in 3 pitches. Get the final 2 outs of the frame. We're through with 8. All KC this afternoon. Tonight, Sprint Cup Racing returns to Fox Sports 1 as the top drivers in the world go under the lights of the Kansas Speedway for the SpongeBob SquarePants 400. Jeff Gordon tries to defend his title from last year. His final season on the track, 7 Eastern tonight on Fox Sports 1. Jabba Chamberlain, 4th pitcher of the day for the Tigers. All 6 runs allowed. Charged to Anibal Sanchez, Hardy, and Albuquerque, both with scoreless relief work. And now it's handed off to Chamberlain to face the middle part of the Kansas City order. Andres Morales takes ball 1. Doubled and scored in the 4th. Strike 1. Chamberlain's 1-1 way upstairs. 2 balls and a strike. He'd given up 1 run over his first 7 outings at Chamberlain. He gave up 4 runs on Wednesday, taking the loss against the White Sox. Deals 2-1, and Morales watches it snap into the zone. 2-2.
Yeah, ideally he'd be the guy to hand the ball to Soria. He's got the experience, he's got the stuff. Just needs to get in that groove, be effective. As you mentioned, he had the hiccup against the White Sox the other evening.
2-2 on Morales, who takes ball 3. Meeting number 6 in a 10-day stretch between these teams. We'll play again tomorrow. And then 12 more times over the course of the season. Chamberlain to Morales, who's leading off this inning. The count stays full. Well, last year the Tigers won the division for their 4th title in a row, but they won it by just 1 game over Kansas City. Thanks largely to going 14-5 against the Royals during the regular season. Large part of the reason the Tigers have won those 4 division titles in a row has been their dominance over their in-division opponents. Tigers won the division, but it was the Royals that wound up winning the pennant. Winning the wild card game, coming from way behind to win 7-3, or when they were down 7-3 against Oakland in the wild card game. You get a sweep in round 1 from there, sweep in the ALCS before losing in 7 to San Francisco in the World Series. Morales down on strikes to begin top of the 9th.
Well, the 6-2 lead. You're hoping a fastball's coming. 3-2 count. Chamberlain just drops the curveball. Nice pitch, nice location. You mentioned the Royals, the Tigers' dominance within the division. I mean, this year, 16 of their 19 wins against the American League Central.
Strike 1 to Alex Gordon.
I don't think there's been any question who has been the best team in the division the last few years. You know, although Kansas City went further in the postseason. Looks like after today, 3 games apiece as the teams have gone at it 6 times.
Two and 1 on Gordon. And talking about the Central, these 2 teams rightfully getting the attention as the season has worn on. But how about what the Twins are doing? I mean, out of the blue, they've won 9 of 11, now just 2 games back coming into the day.
Yeah, especially the way they started. You just thought that was just going to be a snowball getting bigger and bigger going downhill. And what Paul Molitor has done there, and the addition of Torrey Hunter, and just the way that those guys have been playing. But again, I don't think you can get too, it's nice, but you just can't get too excited about anything, because you have stretches during the year of 20, 25 games where teams look like world beaters or they don't look good at all. I think the Twins, if they get to 500 this year, that'll be great. I feel the same way about the Astros as well. Over in the American League West.
Entering today, Tigers tied with the Astros and the Yankees for the best record in the AL. If you had Yankees, Tigers, Astros as tied for the best record in the AL a week into May, you're a big winner. Odds on that, not good.
No.
Houston's starting to come back down to earth already, though. Another 10-game winning streak. They've dropped 4 of 5 coming into the weekend, or coming into today's action. Still a full 5-game lead over the struggling American League West. Their payoff to Gordon. Strike 3 called over the outside edge. Wasn't happy about it. Nice little bat flip.
Nor should he be. That's the first time that pitch has been a strike all day long. I mean, I just don't know how you can hit that. I don't know how you can call it.
Now Omar Infante, a couple of hits for him today. Chamberlain a chance to strike out the side. He'll strike 1. So Greg Holland is warmed up. He'll come in for the 9th inning, it appears, for Kansas City, or at least be ready to. Coach Haver only threw a few pitches, relieving Jeremy Guthrie in the 8th inning.
Well, if anything, I mean, Jabba Chamberlain coming in, a bright spot today for the Tigers. Struck out first 2 hitters he's faced against a club that doesn't strike out.
Infante shoots one into the gap, and that thing bounces right by Gose, who's taken a couple of poor angles today. Infante on his way to third, and he's a home run short of the cycle in his old ballpark.
And there's your jinx right there, telling you how good Chamberlain's looks.
Yeah, right.
Going with that off-speed pitch. This thing just spins, not much bite. Just kind of hangs up there. Infante gets some extension. He gets it out that alley, and it just rolls to the wall.
"27 hits in the 2 games in this series for Kansas City. He kept alive for Christian Colon. Takes ball 1. Good stop, McCann. Two hits for Colon. Starting at third during this series, Mike Moustakas eligible to come back off of the bereavement list once the team arrives in Texas for their next series on Monday. Hard to get much rhythm schedule-wise for the Royals lately, right? I mean, they have that long rain delay Thursday on getaway day. They play the 7 o'clock local game Friday night, 1 o'clock game today, 8 o'clock game tomorrow night. Then they're right back on the road to go to Texas for a Monday night game.
Yeah, that's one of the things that, you know, the rigors of playing Major League Baseball. The schedule, the travel, and grounding out the second base as a hitter.
Kinsler throws out Colon, and we go to the bottom of the net. Kansas City got 4 runs over the first 2 innings. They got a run in the first pitch of the game as Escobar went deep for the first time this season. They've not trailed. Now they send Greg Holland out there to face Castellanos. Swings and misses at strike 1. Holland came off of the disabled list on Wednesday. He went down in the DL April 18th with a pec strain. Got the save on Thursday and has now converted 32 in a row. Such a critical part of the back end of this vaunted Royals bullpen. Castellanos just kind of flips the bat at it. And an easy play for Dyson for the first out of the night. Over the last 2+ seasons, 98 saves and 103 opportunities for Holland. He's been an all-star in back-to-back seasons. Such a big part of that run to the World Series last year. Another argument that folks made about the Royals and expected regression coming into this season. People argued that there was no way the bullpen could be as good as they were last year. Somehow through a month they've been better, even with the injuries.
Well, I think when you look at the guys in the bullpen and the success they've had, they're not finesse guys. They're power guys. So it's not one of those things where if they don't have their location, then they're going to get hit. So I'm not sure why. Now, were they going to be as dominant as they were last year? No, but they are still not going to be fun when you get in that box against them. I mean, neither one of the 3, Herrera, Davis, or Holland, are comfortable at bats. I mean, look at those numbers. I mean, that's video game stuff, and that's being done at the big league level. You know, and there's something to be said when you get in that batter's box. There's certain guys that may have good numbers or may be successful out on the mound, but they're not intimidating. There's no real cause for concern. These guys, you get in there, and as a hitter, you're like, oh, jeez. I'm getting one pitch maybe here.
And then the numbers this year. Now that 1.54 ERA, it's going to go up. We're a month into the season. You can figure it's going to go up some. But at this point, that is in some rare historic territory. 1-2 to James McCann. Shoots one to right. It's a 1-out base hit. His second hit of the day. I'll bring up Andrew Romine. Today's game has been produced by Mark Isofano, directed by Brian Moss. Our technical director, Brent Kristen. Technical manager is Tom Lynch. And Rajay Davis to pinch hit for Andrew Romine out of the 9th spot. Tigers trying to string something together, down 4, down to their final 2 outs. Popped up. Butera making his first start in a Royals uniform has had a good day. Puts it away, 2 away. Tigers down to their final out on this Saturday afternoon. It appears tomorrow will be a series rubber match with the season series locked at 3 games apiece. Royals won the first 2 in Kansas City last weekend. Tigers won the final 2. Tigers won in walk-off fashion last night. The Royals won out away from a 6-2 win in this one. Anthony Gose doubled in the 5th in his 4 trips up. First one from Holland. Breaking ball, strike 1. So barring a miracle 2-out rally, these teams will flip positions in the central standings once again. That move the Royals into a half-game lead. Have not been separated by more than a game and a half over the first month.
No reason to think that this won't be a battle all year long. Save for any type of major injuries, both teams have the resources, whether it's money or players, to be competitive all year long.
Holland. This one fouled off by Gose. Stays 0-2.
I'll tell you, if you haven't had enough baseball today, you got to stick around. Washington Nationals coming up next. Bryce Harper 5 home runs in the last 2 ball games. Hit a pair last night. Hit 3 the other day.
Youngest player ever to do that, 5 home runs in 2 games. Are you ready for the overrated talk about Bryce Harper to subside yet?
You just got to look at the people saying overrated wanted him to be Mickey Mantle at age 20.
Goes, grounds one to second for Infante, and that does it. Royals got out in a hurry and held on. 6-2 the final score. They take a half-game lead here in early May over the Tigers in the American League Central, but in a series and in a rivalry that will figure keep going throughout this season. For Eric Karros and the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from Detroit. Now back to the studio, Kevin Burkhardt and the guys.